Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Tech with Obed, and since we've had some time to digest the T-Mobile earnings, uh, looking at the stock price and seeing how it's reacted, and seeing all the reactions on Twitter and whatnot, now it's a great time for me to kind of go over the T-Mobile earnings and just have a dialogue discussion. And so I really like what T-Mobile did this quarter. The numbers are showing it. And so they did add a postpaid net addition of 299,000. That is the best in the industry. They had a postpaid net customer additions of 1.6 million. That is the best in the industry by far. And they had a phone postpaid net customer addition ads of 760,000, which is the best Q2 they've had in 8 years. Great stuff right there. And one keynote that's very notable: 0.77% churn. That is the best in the industry. First time ever low for T-Mobile. And so AT&T had a slightly higher churn. I honestly thought T-Mobile would be a little bit higher than AT&T, but I guessed wrong. And so this tells us a few things. People are liking what T-Mobile has to offer. People are not leaving. People like the value and the perks with the plans, and so that says a lot. Even with T-Mobile having a slightly smaller network than the big two, but eventually T-Mobile is going to catch on, and it's going to get to a point where, um, there's not going to be really much of a difference, and so that is the scary part for AT&T and Verizon. And so I hope they see these numbers, digest it, and see if they make any changes. Verizon, I'm sure, is probably going to look at these numbers and just shove it off because we already know how Hans is. But home internet did pretty well too. They had 509,000 net customer additions. That is more than AT&T, Verizon, and Comcast and Charter combined for the fifth consecutive quarter. That is great. I only wish that they would disclose the churn for the home internet so we can have an idea of how people are liking the product and the service. Just to kind of tell if it's doing great, if people are leaving at a high rate. And so we don't have those numbers. But T-Mobile service revenue did grow 3% year over year with 15.7 billion. They had a postpaid service revenues of 12.1 billion, which grew 5% year over year. That is the best in the industry growth. And they had a net income of 2.2 billion, which grew 2.3 billion year over year. And they did have a core adjusted EBITDA of 7.3 billion, which grew 11% year over year. That is the best in the industry growth and raising guidance. And they had a net cash flow of 4.4 billion, which grew 3% year over year, raising guidance. And they had an adjusted cash flow of 2.9 billion, which grew 64% year over year. So all of that great stuff. And I know T-Mobile had to raise pricing on the plans, and they had to raise pricing on other things, but to be fair and to be real, guys, T-Mobile has to start making money. Even with T-Mobile giving out these free lines, they're still posting these numbers, which is impressive. But at some point, instead of T-Mobile really giving out the free lines, I think they should just, maybe do half off, 20%, 30% off. Instead of giving out these free lines, then maybe these numbers would have been pretty higher. So I'd like to see T-Mobile get into the 20 billion service revenue mark. So I hope to see that probably within the next few years. But they're doing pretty well. And so T-Mobile does claim that they do have the largest, fastest, and most awarded 5G network. Now, in terms of the speed category, I'll give them that. They do have the fastest network. But, within the next couple quarters, Verizon is going to probably close that gap. So it's probably not going to mean a difference anymore, and they're likely going to be no longer able to claim that. And also, one thing to note here, as you guys see here, they had a total of 1.7 million decrease, 117,000 year over year, and a total customer count of 116.6 billion. So their customer base is growing. And I think they have 3.7 million high-speed internet customers. And so I think T-Mobile's to get to like 6 million, I believe, by 2025, 7 million. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. That was their guidance. But we already know that Tebow usually guides conservatively, so they may go over that, to be quite frank with you. And that's just history. And here's the guidance for the rest of the year. They do expect to have between 5.6 million and 5.9 million, an increase from a prior guidance of 5.3 million. And they do plan to have approximately 7.5 billion, an increase from prior guidance of 7.3 billion and 7.5 billion. And that is just from the merger synergies from the Sprint merger. And the rest, you guys can see here. Like I said, very impressive. I really, really like what T-Mobile is doing. And so let me know what your guys' thoughts, reactions, rebuttals to this is. Let's have a dialogue in the comment section. The T-Mobile stock price did react pretty well. Not too bad. People have raised their stock on T-Mobile. Some even say 200, 180. So that's pretty good to see from T-Mobile. But yet again, guys, let me know what you guys think. If you guys haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. Turn on your bell notifications and follow us on Twitter at TechWithObed. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and blessings.